Today, I'm excited to show you Serverpod 3, codenamed Industrial. Serverpod 3 is a major leap forward for server-side Dart. Since version 2 of Serverpod, we have shipped over 80 new features. Serverpod 3 brings many new updates, the most significant being a completely reworked web server and a brand new authentication system that makes it easier than ever to ship production-grade Flutter apps with a full Dart backend. We named this version Industrial because with this release and the new authentication package, we take Serverpod to the next stage in terms of security and robustness. I'm Victor, I'm the founder of Serverpod. If you're new here, Serverpod is the open source backend for Flutter teams who want to stay in Dart, all the way from the user interface to the database. You get Dart first ORM, caching, world-class logging, authentication, file uploads, streaming, health checks, and zero configuration deployments. All designed so a Flutter team can own the full stack without becoming DevOps experts. In this video, I'll walk you through everything new in Serverpod 3, with a special focus on the new web server and the new authentication module. We will take a look at some powerful improvements in the ORM, data models, and the overall developer experience. We'll close with an exciting surprise, so make sure to stick till the end. Let's start with the new web server. Serverpod 3 introduces a fully reworked server built on top of Relic. Relic is our new low-level web server, a completely reworked version of Shell with many improvements in its APIs, performance, and reliability. Relic brings many new features to Serverpod, including support for middleware, efficient serving of static files, cache busting, and more. This also means that you can now reliably host your Flutter web app directly on Serverpod, building landing pages or create custom REST APIs or webhooks. For example, our new Serverpod web page is now built using Serverpod. This is a big step forward for Dart, because it means that you can now build everything with it. Your Flutter app, your backend, your website, and any webhooks for connecting to external services. You can share code and logic between all these environments. Next, the brand new authentication system. We've rebuilt our authentication from the ground up to make it more flexible, more modular, and much easier to use. You can now choose between JWT-based authentication or server-side sessions, depending on your architecture and security requirements. Serverpod 3 supports multiple identity providers right out of the box, including email, Google, and Apple, but you can also use Firebase, which gives you access to many other social sign-ins. We're planning on adding more options like anonymous users, sign in through text messages, GitHub, and Facebook over the coming months. We also made it possible to set up two-factor authentication and to add your own providers. A new auth user class now represents your authenticated user and gives you direct access to their tokens, scopes, and associated identities. You can connect it to a model with your own data fields when you need custom logic. We've also introduced beautiful new UI components for sign-in flows. The UI components are fully decoupled from the authentication engine, so you can adopt the default screens or plug in your own design system while keeping the same backend logic. To support this new system, we've introduced a set of new packages, including Serverpod Auth Core and Serverpod Auth IDP. We're working on tools for migrating legacy authentication setups from older versions of Serverpod. This will be released in the coming weeks. If you're running a Serverpod 2 application, you'll be able to upgrade your backend without losing your users. Now, let's talk about the database and our ORM. Since version 2, Serverpod's ORM has gained a lot of power, especially with the introduction of vector database support and the use of UUIDs as table keys. The vector database support makes it easy and efficient to build apps with retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, and other solutions with AI and semantic search. With full support for UUIDs as database IDs, you don't need to expose incremental IDs to your client. This makes it impossible to guess the ID of your models if you use the ID in your API. To move to UUIDs as the primary key for your model, all you need to do is to explicitly set the type of the ID field to UUID in your model definition. In our ORM, we have also improved how you work with transactions. We're now providing a typed interface for working with transaction isolation levels and save points. We have also made it possible to do partial updates, which can improve efficiency when writing to the database. Using partial updates can lower the I/O cost because less data needs to be transmitted. It also allows for using hot updates, which avoids updating indexes and improves the performance of write operations. In Serverpod 3, we have also made major improvements to how you work with our data models. First, our models now support inheritance. You can define shared fields across multiple models in a clean and type-safe way. This feature also has support for sealed classes. This is especially useful if you want a fully typed interface for streaming data and want to have a guarantee that you handle all the different types and cases on the client side. In addition, data models can now be declared to be immutable. Using immutable models is a matter of preference, but it can help avoid hidden side effects, making methods more reliable and making testing easier. You may remember that we introduced streaming endpoint methods, letting your backend return a stream instead of a future. This is perfect for chat apps, live dashboards, or games. Serverpod will use WebSockets under the hood, but transparently handles routing inside your server and the full lifecycle of your connections. Since then, we've added a comprehensive testing framework, enhanced logging, diagnostics, introduced improved project templates, and a redefined CLI. All these features are designed to make the developer experience as smooth as possible, regardless whether you are a single developer or building an app for millions of users. Basically, we focus on all the hard, tricky parts, so you can do all the fun stuff. We're a full team working on Serverpod, but we couldn't have made it this far without our amazing community. I want to extend a large thank you to everyone who has contributed code, suggested features, and reported bugs. This not just makes Serverpod better, but also is the most rewarding part of our work. It's inspiring to see how our collective efforts keep pushing the boundaries of what can be done with Dart on the backend. On that note, I would like to highlight a couple of amazing contributions that have made it into Serverpod 3. First, Ben Auer from Markably added support for inheritance in models, one of the key new features of this release.
Thanks, Victor. Hey guys, I'm Ben. I'm a software engineer from Austria working with Markably, where we build apps for big and small brands across Europe with a focus on quality and maintainability. I love everything open source and in particular Serverpod, and while using it across multiple projects, I got really interested about its inner workings, and while looking at the code, I learned a lot about backend development with Dart and code generation. So it naturally became a dream of mine to contribute something to the technology I hold so dearly. And one feature I've always been missing in Serverpod was inheritance in its models. So I built it. And now I'm really excited to tell you that it's going to be part of Serverpod 3.0. Now, when declaring your child class, simply use the extends keyword and assign its value to the name of one of your model classes. After running Serverpod generate, your Dart class now extends the parent class and inherits the fields from it. In a similar way, you can even create sealed classes by using the sealed keyword and setting its value to true. I hope you can put this feature to good use. I know it will make my products a lot more maintainable. That's it from me. Thanks for tuning in. And back to you, Victor.
Thank you, Ben. This really feels like one of those missing puzzle pieces that have finally fallen into place. Another piece of the puzzle has been contributed by Code Brothers, an app agency building with Flutter and Serverpod. They have added support for immutable models.
Hi everyone, we are the Code Brothers, a software development company from Poland. Awesome to have you here.
At the Code Brothers, we build apps for our customers from start to finish.
Idea check, design, backend, frontend, the whole experience, fully in Flutter and Dart.
Now, with the Serverpod, we can take care of the backend ourselves.
We introduced immutable models to Serverpod to make it fit even better with our tech stack. With this new functionality, you can check if two objects have the same values, use hashcode property, and make sure that the object will never change. Just put immutable true in your model's YAML file. This feature will be a part of Serverpod 3, a huge update to our favorite framework.
And of course, big shout out to Victor and his team. Thanks for all the work, passion, and energy you put into Serverpod.
New project in Serverpod.
Thank you. Finally, Marcelo Soares contributed both the new UUID feature and support for the vector database last spring. Now he's joined the Serverpod team full-time and has played a major part in building the new authentication package. Here is Marcelo to tell us a bit more about his story.
I started using Serverpod for a project in October 2024, and I come from the data and AI world, so I had a lot of experience with Python, with FastAPI, but after seeing all of the features that Serverpod offered that I wouldn't have to build myself for my Flutter application, I decided to use it, and soon enough I was contributing, solving some small issues, small bug fixes, until I bumped into the need of using UUIDs as primary keys on the database. This was my first big contribution to the project and led to a small contract soon after to implement vector support on the database. And after finishing this feature, I was offered the position to work full-time at Serverpod, and it felt as a really exciting opportunity. I was already liking a lot to contribute. I already knew part of the team, and here I am. Now I work at Serverpod, and I'm helping build the framework, the community, and I also learned a lot about the open source world during this journey. There are a lot of good companies and good opportunities out there, but I wouldn't advise going just contributing to any project that you see. Otherwise, create something that you care about, some project that you would like to see complete. And you will mostly need libraries and frameworks that are on the open source. And you will have real-world problems that these libraries haven't solved yet. Solve them and solve them well, and you are sure to catch the attention of those that are behind it.
There are also many other smaller improvements and bug fixes in Serverpod 3, including safer enum serialization, removal of deprecated APIs, improvements to testing, logs, better health checks, clearer error messages, and overall cleaner defaults. You can find all the details in our extensive changelog. And speaking of community, we have recently opened up our official Serverpod Discord server. Join us there if you want to chat with the team, meet other Serverpod users, or get early access to upcoming features. You can find a link to join on our website under the Community tab. Wow, that is a lot of stuff. When we released the first versions of Serverpod, we were often asked why we didn't just use gRPC or OpenAPI. Our answer was that we didn't want to be limited by the constraints of other frameworks. We wanted to make Serverpod the best Dart-first platform it could possibly be. Today, it's clear that we have delivered on this plan. Let me show a comparison of where we stand feature-wise in comparison with gRPC and OpenAPI. Like Serverpod, gRPC and OpenAPI can generate models from a specification and generate your client code. But here the similarities end. Adding endpoints to gRPC and OpenAPI requires creating definitions and stubs first. They have no ORM, so you'll need a different system for that. Serializable exceptions are not supported, and there is no support for inheritance in models or in endpoints. There are no sealed model classes, and you cannot hide model fields client-side. We have limited support for streaming data, and creating webhooks or custom responses often requires a separate system. The only leg up gRPC and OpenAPI currently have over Serverpod is that they can generate code from multiple platforms, something we're intending to fix in future Serverpod releases. Since its initial release, Serverpod has really come a very long way. It's now production ready and in use by thousands of companies all over the world. Serverpod is used by startups, app agencies, healthcare companies, banks, and government agencies. This is also reflected in our rapid growth. Just 1 year ago, Serverpod had around 3,000 monthly downloads from pub.dev. Today, we have over 16,000. But how do you host your Serverpod? I got some exciting news on that too. We have built a zero configuration deployment solution for Serverpod called Serverpod Cloud. It's currently in a private beta, but we're onboarding new projects every day. If you want early access, sign up for the waiting list on our webpage and give us a ping on Discord. Then we can bring you on board right away. There will be more news coming around Serverpod Cloud soon, so stay tuned for that. If you are excited about what we're building at Serverpod and are an experienced developer, now is the time to join our team. We're currently hiring for several positions, so please check our careers page for details. We prefer to hire locally in Stockholm, but can make exceptions for extraordinary candidates. Finally, I have a great surprise for all of you. Today, we're not just launching Serverpod 3, we are also launching a worldwide Flutter and Serverpod hackathon with over $20,000 worth of prizes. It's $10,000 in cash and $10,000 in Serverpod Cloud credits. The theme of the hackathon is Build Your Flutter Butler with Serverpod. You get the chance to craft your very own Flutter Butler that serves, automates, and delights. This can be anything from an AI helper or productivity app to a creative automation. You can find the link to all the information about the hackathon on our website. We can't wait to see what you'll come up with. So whether you're starting a new Flutter app and want a backend that keeps you in Dart from end to end, or you're already running a Serverpod application and are ready to upgrade to a more powerful web server and authentication system, Serverpod 3 is our best version yet. Thank you again to everyone who has helped us along the way and who has built this amazing framework together with us. Until next time, happy coding!